Welcome back to Pixel Peak. Hope you enjoyed our special episode in Minecraft last week.
Yeah, the work our crew did was amazing.
It was really neat. They did a great job.
Can't wait to see what we do for our next special episode.
Agreed. But right now, on to the news. Starting off this week in Rochester, New York, a museum exhibit on video games will be announcing nominations for the World Video Game Hall of Fame.
Sounds fun and interesting. I wonder what games they'll show.
It's been said that they'll be showing a variety of different video games.
Neat. After that, though, we move on to Fortnite. Winter is ending and spring is coming along with a new season and updates for Fortnite.
I heard that Teen Titans will be making an appearance in this update.
Maybe?
Alright, next we're discussing Xbox and how EA Play will be coming to their gaming subscription pass.
And how Xbox's Auto HDR support is also coming to Windows PC.
I think Xbox gamers will be looking forward to this.
Oh, for sure. But speaking of EA, they have recently found themselves in a bit of trouble. And the whole situation is now being hashtagged as, get this, EA-gate.
Oh boy.
Yeah, all because an EA employee was selling FIFA cards for a ridiculous amount.
Well, in addition to this news, analysis this week will be done by Zach White on the latest topics related to Sony.
And finally, for our game review, this week we have Harry Enzor reviewing Sea of Solitude.
We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I'm Kristen Lawrence.
And I'm Bryce Gates, and we hope you enjoy your stay
on Pixel Peak. World Video Game Hall of Fame is an exciting exhibit presented by the Strong Museum, which is located in Rochester, New York. The Hall of Fame was created to give special recognition to electronic games of all types, whether it be arcade, console, computer, handheld, or even mobile games that meet a certain criteria. So, what does it take for a game to reach Hall of Fame status, you may ask? According to the Strong Museum, games that have enjoyed popularity over a sustained period of time and have exerted influence on the video game industry or on popular culture and society in general. Some examples of influentially popular games that are being nominated this year include Animal Crossing, which is praised for its success among both casual and advanced gamers, and has brought a plethora of sequels from City Folk to New Horizons. Along with this, Valve's Portal earned a nomination for being instrumental in the major advancement of puzzle-based games. Of course, these are just a couple of the major titles that have been nominated for this year's Hall of Fame. Call of Duty, FIFA, Guitar Hero, and Pole Position are a few other major franchises from a long list that have received nominations this year. In previous years, it is common to see anywhere from 4 to 6 games being inducted into the Hall of Fame. In 2020, Minecraft, Bejeweled, Centipede, and King's Quest were the lucky titles to be welcomed as a part of video game history. The official induction picks of the 2021 Hall of Fame will be announced at the Strong Museum on Thursday, May 6th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
With winter coming to an end and spring just on the horizon, it is time to get excited for a different type of season that gamers may prefer. That's right, Fortnite Season 6 of Chapter 2 is here, and it brings some cool new updates for us all to enjoy. Some very familiar names from all different ways of life have been transformed into skins that can be acquired via the Battle Pass. Among these is somebody special from our favorite childhood television show, Teen Titans, and that's Raven. This new character comes from the form of Rebirth Raven, which is not the exact Raven from the Teen Titans show, but rather she's being pulled from the Teen Titans Rebirth comic series. Another famous name we can expect to see in the Battle Pass is Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider franchise, with the developers claiming she will fit right in with the theme of Season 6. Finally, a third person who do not even derive from the virtual world is being added to the game. Brazilian soccer superstar Neymar Jr. is Fortnite's first ever sports legend to appear as a skin, but definitely not the first time the game has ever touched on sports in general. Fortnite has had several NFL jerseys being offered in the game for multiple years, and just last year, Epic Games partnered with over 20 national soccer clubs to add their kits to the game. As a side note, for something to definitely make to definitely make longtime Fortnite fans happy. With Season 6, the game reintroduces the pump shotgun. During Season 5, Epic decided to remove the weapon from the game, which resulted in many fans quickly growing to miss it. Thankfully, the decision only lasted one season, and the weapon is back and in full force. As always, we can expect Fortnite to continuously add new skins all throughout this season. These are just the most exciting new skins of them all. For more information on what is being added this season, make sure to stay updated with Fortnite's patch notes.
Nowadays, there are many game subscription services out there, including PlayStation Now, Ubisoft Plus, and Apple Arcade. Xbox Game Pass and EA Play are no exception to this, although they have just recently teamed up to merge their two services together. Originally, Xbox Game Pass already included a massive catalog of games, some of the most notable titles including Yakuza, Gears of War, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Halo, as well as many more standalone titles. Due to the recent acquisition of Bethesda by Microsoft, however, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein, and Dishonored were added to Xbox Game Pass on the 8th of March. As of March 18th, games available to EA Play have also joined Xbox Game Pass and include titles such as FIFA, Madden, Dragon Age, Dead Space, Mass Effect, The Sims, Titanfall, Battlefield, and even Star Wars Squadrons. The base price of Xbox Game Pass is $10, which unlocks the service on either Xbox consoles, PC, or Android. Of course, if having the service on one platform isn't enough for you, then there is also an Ultimate Edition, which bumps the price up to $15 a month and unlocks the service for all platforms. Another feature coming to PC is Auto HDR, which was originally developed for the Xbox Series X and granted a significant visual boost to many games that were released to the previous generation of consoles. The feature is currently being restricted to the Windows Insider program, which allows for users to test a variety of new updates for Windows 10, in addition to the Auto HDR option. Please be sure to note that this feature will only work if you have an HDR-capable monitor, and that while there is currently no official release date for Auto HDR, we'll be sure to update you as soon as it's announced.
Earlier this month, allegations began spreading involving FIFA 21, saying that FIFA Ultimate Team cards were being sold for ridiculous amounts of money by Electronic Arts employees. This prompted many players to tweet out pictures of screenshotted messages from sellers claiming to be EA employees who were selling player cards for as much as $2,000 apiece. Accompanying the tweets was the hashtag EAGate, which quickly started to gain traction on Twitter. Normally, the only way for players to get these cards is by opening the FIFA Ultimate Team packs. As such, there have been many YouTubers that open hundreds of dollars worth of player packs to try and get the best players. The cards that were being offered had less than a 1% chance of appearing in one of these packs. EA responded on their website stating that they have been starting an investigation, as well adding that they are, quote-unquote, "we're angry too." While their investigation have only found questionable activity with very few accounts, EA has stated that they will be removing any items and banning any accounts involved in the scandal. As their investigation continues, we'll be sure to include any updates reviewed in the future.
Hello everyone, Harriet here. For this week's episode, I am reviewing Sea of Solitude, the director's cut. I do want to note some trigger warnings because this game discusses topics of loneliness, depression, bullying, and abandonment. Sea of Solitude is a third-person adventure video game developed by Joe May Games and published by Electronic Arts. The original game was released for Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in July of 2019. However, a director's cut version of the game was announced at the Game Awards in 2020. The game is published by Quantic Dream, and it was released exclusively for the Nintendo Switch in March of 2021. Updated from the 2019 version, the director's cut features a rewritten script, a new cast of voice actors, and augmented cutscenes and animations that convey the narrative and gameplay experience in a very complete way and really just ties everything all together.
Much better. Now let's get some landmarks.
You play as Kay, a young girl navigating through a beautiful yet troubling world where things are not as they seem. In a drowned city consumed in darkness, it is up to Kay to restore the light and to face and conquer each fear that comes her way. This game is a journey of what happened to Kay, and in the end, a quest to turn her back into a human. This game has a beautiful yet scary design that can change in an instant. The game is reminiscent that of Studio Ghibli in Japanese manga, which you can see some inspiration is taken. But with the design, you never want to get too comfortable. Because of this, the player feels both scared, anxious, but also curious as to what happened and what is going on. I love how each metaphorical monster was designed, and I love how the monsters evoke emotions that were painful, emotional, and heavy, and I liked how Kay had to face that and overcome it. At the core of each monster, they aren't monsters at all, they're actually humans that Kay knows. And you're trying to understand them, and in turn, it gives you a peek into why Kay is the way that she is now. I often find that in life, we all have our own monsters, and I really enjoyed playing as Kay, defeating them and understanding them, because in a way I felt like I was conquering my own. It was very cathartic, and I enjoyed it, and it was nice to see. With gameplay, I really enjoyed this flare feature that you had. I got really turned around in this game, so it was good so I could gain my bearings. I also really enjoyed collecting message bottles and listening to what they had to say. Sometimes it would be cute memories from Kay's childhood, but other times it would discuss heavier topics, and it was really hard to hear some of them because it was so moving and emotional.
Dad says they're my sisters and I need to help take care of them. Mr. Elman let me pick cherry tomatoes from the vine.
Having the ability to shoo seagulls was really cool. You got to take aerial pictures when you shoot them, and so that was really neat. And it also provided some stress relief in very stressful times, because if anything, this game can be extremely stressful. I also got to drive a boat, which was really fun. I'm gonna drive the boat. Let me drive the boat. There I go. Whee! It was just really fun to navigate. The music in this game also set the mood. I always knew when something bad was going to happen, but I also knew when something good was occurring, so that was nice. The music and design really made this game for me, and it was definitely a journey of self-discovery, not only for Kay, but myself as well. I really enjoyed playing through this game. There were topics that were brought up that I myself struggle with, and so it was really interesting for me to conquer each fear. It felt cathartic, and it felt nice to, see visually you defeating them. I definitely would recommend this game, but I emphasize the trigger warnings I stated in the beginning. Sea of Solitude is out now, and if you play it, I hope it is as self-enlightening and cathartic for you as it was for me.
Hi, Zach. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
And I've heard that today we are delving into the topic of Sony's part in the online gaming industry. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it.
All right. The annual esports event for fighting games EVO was recently purchased by Sony. What do you hope will come out of this partnership?
Well, personally, I've been interested in fighting games like the Mortal Kombat and Smash Bros. Series for quite some time, with Mortal Kombat X really grabbing my attention to, sink some hours into. And as you may or may not know, I've always been a PlayStation guy, so to see these two worlds embrace each other is just great. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the entire fighting game industry has been hurting because, competitive play thrives off of in-person events. Now, I'm not saying things will be back to normal, like back to the same the way it was, but with the help of Sony, online events are definitely going to be much better and more people will have opportunities to play. Not only do I think the current competitive fighting game industry will benefit from this, like the people who are already involved, but more new players all around the world will benefit having new ways to prove their skill.
Yeah, it really opens up the championship to everyone. And so last year's event was canceled due to COVID-19, and the championship will finally be returning this August in an online format. What benefits for gamers may there be from having this event held online?
Online competitive gaming truly is great, but it definitely comes with a caveat. You see, there are many benefits of playing online, such as being able to play with basically anybody, anywhere in the world, at any time. And during these times, it's obviously much safer than gathering in person for large events. But that caveat I mentioned, the competitive atmosphere is very much so boosted and just driven by not just fan interaction at events, but seeing and interacting with your opponent right then and there while you're playing with them and before you play them and even after. Not to mention the slight amount of lag that comes with online gaming, which can vary depending on who's playing and whatnot. But this may also hinder the outcome of matches. Things that I've noticed when watching online tournaments is that players may not take things as serious, they may not perform at their best, or they might just flat out not even be motivated to play, like not even just join the tournament at all. But that was, online tournaments before the pandemic. Now that it's making a return, I think players are honestly just going to be very thankful to have high-level tournaments. And so I'm sure we'll see some great gameplay.
Yeah, I definitely hope that everyone feels up to playing in their own areas. But in the efforts to help maintain social distancing, Sony has announced 9 games that will be available for free starting next month. What can you tell us about the listings and which one are you most excited for?
Well, personally, seeing as half of these games or so are PlayStation VR, I've never had the pleasure of playing a VR PlayStation, so I cannot really speak for those games. But in terms of the other games that we have coming, there's definitely a great selection. This game called Abzu is a fantastic game that I've definitely played before many times, and I find it a very easy recommendation for people that are looking for a relaxing game just to sit on the couch and play. The fact that it's going to be free just means that, in my opinion, there's no reason for everyone to not have this game in their library. Now, granted, most of these are indie games besides Horizon Zero Dawn, which is another game I can definitely recommend. Most of these games are open world, which is my personal favorite style of game. Another great game that I've also played that you should definitely go ahead and add to your library come next month is Subnautica. Abzu and Subnautica are very similar in the sense that they both take you to the place of the ocean. And I would say go ahead and definitely play Abzu first. And then when you're hungry for more, after completing this, which you will be because Abzu is a very short game, then definitely dive into the world of Subnautica.
I know I definitely would love to play both of those games in the next month. We've finally gotten a peek at the plans for PlayStation 5 VR. What improvement would you most like to see?
In the PlayStation 4 era of VR, one thing that really stuck out to me is how far behind they were with their controllers in terms of their competitors like Oculus. The old VR set used the standard glowing ball controllers that operate very similar to a Wii controller, which honestly offered no real benefit to the VR experience from what I've seen. Basically, it seemed as though it was just like playing a Wii with 2 controllers and having the screen strapped to your face rather than playing on a television. The real advantage that Oculus VR, which is the set that is compatible with PC gaming, has over PlayStation 4 VR is their controllers. And obviously, a better diversity of games, but that's besides the point. Speaking of games, I believe that the amount of amazing games that Sony has released in the past, we can expect VR compatibility for those games to possibly roll out.
I definitely see what you're saying about the Wii controllers, and I can agree with that. So how does Sony plan to make this VR set different from the older set?
As I mentioned before, Sony really needed to step up their game with the VR controllers, and that's exactly what they did. From what I can tell, it seems as though they're going for a very similar design to Oculus, except I'm definitely more excited for the PlayStation controllers. Based on pictures, it seems as though there are far more opportunities to completely get your hands more involved which in turn gets your brain more involved. Sony says some of the features of the VR controllers have adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, and finger touch detection. What I've grasped from that is that it seems they're aiming to add some sort of function that is similar to the PlayStation 4's controller touchpad, which sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely immersive, that's for sure. After everything we've heard about Sony and the PlayStation this week, what are you most hoping to see come from them next?
Personally, with this new VR controller being announced, I really hope to possibly see a PlayStation 5 plus VR bundle in the near future. I believe that PlayStation 4 had a great run with these bundles, but now with the upgraded experience coming to VR, I would really like to get my hands on a set sometime and try it out. Granted, I also do not have a PlayStation 5, so offering these two as a bundle would just be more of an incentive for me to get it. And speaking on that, I believe many people are also in the same boat of not having a PlayStation 5 just yet. So if Sony released a VR bundle in the PlayStation 5 early in the PlayStation 5 lifespan, I believe that they have potential for seeing great returns.
I know that definitely sounds like a great deal to me. So thank you for joining us today. Now back to Kristen and Bryce.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harriet, for your first game review.
Yeah, thanks for all your hard work.
I can't believe Raven is actually going to be in Fortnite.
Yeah, I know. That character is pretty nostalgic for people around our age, thanks to the Teen Titans show.
The Hall of Fame exhibit sounds really cool, too.
Yeah, I'm impressed at the variety of games they'll be showing.
Agreed. When most people think of video games, they tend to think of Nintendo or Xbox.
It's nice that they'll be giving a lot of video games a shot at the spotlight.
Totally. Like each week, we have new Pixel Peak episodes coming out every Monday afternoon at noon. You can find them on watchapptv.com, Skybest channels 20 and 1020, Spectrum channel 198, and on App State's campus television channel 23.3.
And you can always get reminded of upcoming episodes by following our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts at PixelPeak@TV.
Of course, we have our incredible crew to thank for another great episode. Thanks to writers Rebecca Larson, Josh Beal, and Zach White, game reviewer Harry Enzor, and producers Nick Corbin, Elise Taylor, Haley Cipher, and Jacob Barber for another week of impeccable gaming industry content.
Thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoy your stay
on Pixel Peak.